Welcome to Squeeze and the Shrimp.
I'm the Shrimp.
I'm Squeeze. Today we're going to be talking about a couple of news topics.
Yeah.
As you might have noticed, the sound is a bit better. So we made the sound a little. That's news. We made the sound a little bit. Made the sound a little bit better for you guys.
I forgot my shirt. That's also news.
He forgot his shirt. We did purchase two of these same mics right here.
It's a work in progress is basically what it comes down to.
However, they did not send us two of the same mics. We got some like other off-brand mics, so we're gonna just use that for now
until we get it fixed.
Until we get it fixed. So sound quality will even get better.
So, far as news going on, starting off with
well, hold on.
Okay.
Hold on a second. The other bit of news about our particular show is it's been a little bit since we had an update because the Shrimp and I have gotten to go back to work.
Yes.
Full time.
Hopefully that stays true for a good long time.
So we haven't.
People stop dying.
Yeah. So we haven't had quite the same amount of time we had before to record for you guys. Yeah. But don't fret. We just kind of had a couple, few busy weeks where we were busy getting everything ready for social distancing and all of those things at our day jobs.
Yep.
So we should be uploading more regularly again. We hope that all of you are, getting to do the same and getting to go back to normal at least a little bit.
Stay safe. Wear your masks.
If you need one, we know where you can buy one.
Also, thank you to the first person who bought stuff on our store. You know who you are, and you are amazing.
So, yeah. I think that's like all the news for us is A, new studio equipment, and
Yay!
B, getting to go back to work.
Yeah. So, without further ado, what's going on in the world?
We in our last episode of the news, we were able to we did talk about TVR's purchase of Norton, saving it from the brink of disaster and disappearing as a motorcycle company.
Completely gone. It's no longer an entity.
Yeah, and also, strangely enough, so far I've not been able to find if anyone has been able to track down the previous owner of Norton. I don't know if he ever did show up to court.
I don't
know if So,
if you do find an article or something about that, throw it down in the doobly-doo.
I think he's on Epstein's Island.
I mean,
he didn't hang himself.
True, but not a big take there, Squeeze.
Yeah. So when we first reported, there was a lot of kind of mystery because TVR just bought Norton.
It was hours old when we got on that.
Yeah, and also like TVR as a company is, as far as a motorcycle company goes, it was about as radically different from Norton as you could get. So there was like kind of on our part at least a lot of worry. Like
Norton didn't make motorcycles, TVR did.
Is one of our like beloved British motorcycle companies going to change?
Neither of us are British, but we love British bikes so much. It's silly.
Yeah.
So, But the good news is from everything, both in press releases and what the scuttlebutt is, TVR is doing exactly what we were hoping they were going to do.
They're going to keep production in England.
They've already hired a bunch of people.
They hired a bunch of people back, everybody except for upper management, which is understandable considering
I think we asked for that. Like, kick those guys out, keep the guys who had the wrenches.
Yeah, they definitely just drove, and I think they kept some of the design team, but they just drove, the upper management obviously drove that company into the dirt
multiple times.
Yeah. For being a motorcycle company without a enduro or dirt bike, they sure went right into the dirt.
Don't squeeze front brakes on dirt.
Yeah. So TVR wants to use Norton as I watched an interview with one of the guys from TVR.
Okay, because I've just read a couple articles on it.
Yeah, so another, gosh, I can't remember who it was. Another a podcaster did an interview with one of the TVR guys, and it was both of them were based in India, but they did do it in English. And he kind of assured that TVR is keeping Norton a British motorcycle company. They hope to use the Norton brand and platform to go more international. So we might actually see Norton dealerships in the United States. That's one of the things on their list.
That'd be great. Because, I mean, TVR, what TVR makes for the Indian market would not sell well over here.
Yeah.
And what sells well over here isn't going to sell in the Indian market. So having two different brands that are radically different totally makes sense for that company.
Yeah, and I did in our last news show, I did miscalculate the exchange rate from rupees to USD, and their sport bike, I believe, is like 3,000 something. That's their most expensive bike. It's still super cheap. I suspect that it is exactly a BMW 300.
It's a BMW 300 that you also like. It's got to be a little bit taller because the roads there aren't that great. So like there are different things you have to take into account. Like they may have a couple tracks, but it's if you have the money to have a trailer to take it to the track, you're not buying a TVR anyways.
Totally. But I mean, I suspect that it's pretty much that Beamer that they build for Beamer with a different skin.
And, not a Beamer badge, so it doesn't add 10% of the price.
So, but yeah, they really don't make any kind of high-end or even mid-tier bikes by U.S. standards. But I'm happy to see that they're kind of like trying to keep that Norton image. They're trying to keep the Norton bikes, the designers, all of that stuff. Hopefully what that ends up happening is it becomes a lot easier for people to buy Nortons in the US, because I mean I don't, it's probably a little bit further down on my list of things to buy, but I want to see them on the road.
Yeah.
I want to see him on the road. I want to see him in a dealership. I want to go throw a leg over one. Who knows?
And I want to be able to throw a leg over one the same conversation we've had on so many classic bikes, where like I don't want a classic bike. Yes. I don't want a bike where I spend half as much time wrenching on it as I do actually riding it.
Yeah.
For where I am in my life right now.
Yeah. Where you're commuting every day, and then at some morning you wake up and you go out to the garage and you go, "Where's that oil coming from?"
Yeah, it's probably on the bike, but it's not there anymore. Yeah.
Why does this sound so weird?
Yeah.
Did my carburetor do something weird? Yeah. I mean, not having to worry about that sort of stuff and still getting like a really, fun cafe bike or something like that.
And the
really
heritage,
great.
I don't want that to fall apart. So I'm super glad that TVR's. It looks. I mean, granted.
Yeah. I think if they really want to be a player in the and TVR's got plenty of money to do this. But if they really want to be an international player, I think they're going to have to follow in the footsteps of Triumph and, come out with a couple of different tools.
Yeah.
Because right now it's just kind of like they've got like a straight up kind of track bike that's like a little bit like a Daytona. And then they have 2 or 3 cafe racers. And I think that they'll do pretty well with cafe racers in this country if they're not like all above $8,000.
Yeah, they've got to also get
if they can get in that like kind of Bonneville price range.
Yeah, they've got to also get on that, get it released sometime in, my guess is at least the next 2 years. Yeah. If they wait for 5, I have a feeling that the crowd that is presently jazzing on cafe racers is going to find the new it thing, and they might have missed that market. Like, we're already well into it was hard to find cafe racers because I can't even, what are they called? not millennials, but hipsters.
Zeds? Oh, hipsters.
All the hipsters bought them all. So like, if you're trying to cash in on that, like you got to get here fast.
Yeah, and I'm not a hipster by any standard whatsoever, despite my current twisty mustache that I've developed in the COVIDs. But yeah, I mean, I feel like I definitely feel that too. Like, don't miss the gold rush kind of a deal. Like showing up with your pick and axe right as like everybody's leaving.
Yeah. That being said, like, I'm okay with them missing this gold rush if they're looking forward on what's the next thing that's actually going to keep Norton going. Yeah. If they miss this because they're not trying to put their eggs in a basket that has already been plundered, cool.
Yeah. I mean, and TVR's good at this. Like, they do make cheap bikes, and I would not be mad at them at having a Norton badged entry level bike like BMW's got, like something like 300 to 400 cc range. That's really cheap and accessible for college students. And
the thing that you're gonna have to do with bringing in a new name on that is there's so many just people coming in. You have that Norton badge, but if they dilute what Norton is with bikes that are, they've got to keep the
upper tier stuff. Like,
well, I mean, it's not just the upper tier, but they've got to keep the maintenance and how long it lasts to something that the American public will agree with.
I mean, for the most part, from what I can tell, and I don't have any real experience with TVR bikes because you can't get them over here, but from what I found out, they're relatively easy to work on and relatively reliable, which is something that you need in a cash strap market.
Yeah, then that's great.
And they haven't done a bad job with that entry level BMW. Like, I think there's a recall on it, but like, who doesn't have recalls?
There's recalls on,
So I'm not mad at them at like having some recall, but for the most part, I understand it's pretty reliable.
There's also a difference between a recall that is a come in, it's done in an hour of your time, and I'm stealing your bike for 6 months because the entire engine needs to be rebuilt.
Yeah, or here's a refund. Sorry.
Yeah.
Like,
don't do that.
Couple of those
Don't. Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm pretty happy with what they're doing. I'd like to see from them like maybe an ADV, something to diversify the line a little bit.
And I mean, they do need to kind of fight on their own turf with that as well, because they could go head to head with the Himalayan in the TVR's market. Now, whether TVR wants to do that or whether you put that under the Norton badge.
Yeah. And for everybody out there who thinks it's ridiculous that I'm suggesting a Norton ADV, a Triumph has this pretty much the same pedigree. They were once owned by the same company.
Yeah.
Like, so a company that once used to pretty much exclusively make like kind of like cruisery bikes and cafe racers.
And straight up Isle of Man.
Yeah, and straight up Isle of Man, for them to make an ADV bike, it's not out of this world,
Honestly, the difference between a off-road bike to a track bike and the difference between a off-road car to a high-end track car, they're not nearly as far apart as the auto world is.
Yeah.
So you can take a lot of the same stuff you learned, and granted,
and depending on what kind of off-roading you're talking about, you know, because like there's a big difference between like rally and rock crawling.
Yeah, like, totally. But there's
just
the
like
same...
there's a big difference between like like a true dirt bike,
true
dirt
like
bike off-roading versus
two-stroke,
like flat track.
Totally
like they're both technically off-road, but I would say, I'd like to see him diversify the line. Other than that, I'm pretty fucking happy and optimistic with what TVR is doing.
Yeah, I'm happy and optimistic with what TVR is doing. I can't say the same thing about Harley, but that is for our next topic.
We're gonna welcome back to Squeeze and the Shrimps News Channel,
where Shrimp forgets that his microphone's on the other side.
Yeah. So, all right, we're talking about Harley now.
Yeah.
Harley's been in a bit of a. I mean, I I don't know how much of a rough patch. Like it's a rough patch for them.
Yeah, and I'm not sure how much
outselling like a ton of other motorcycle companies.
I'm not sure how much of this is also news and how much of this is
conjecture.
Well, news because it's in news articles because there's only so much they can write about right now, COVID style.
Yeah.
The big thing that's making us talk about this is we both follow Ryan F9, and he just had a video out on it.
Yeah.
Squeeze
and
disagrees with some of it.
Yeah, so there's also a new CEO of Harley.
Yeah.
I really liked the stuff the CEO that left did before he made the board really nervous by building fun new things.
Building fun new things, trying new markets. He may have outreached what was a good idea as far as Harley was concerned, but I'm not sure there was a good way to make a bet that wasn't outreaching what was.
I think they needed to swing for the fences.
I agree.
Like the
and now they switched to bunts.
I don't want to say like there's a lot of talk that's like, oh, the Harley is having a death rattle and all of this stuff. And Harley's losing market share.
Yeah.
And part of that is two things. One, there aren't as many new riders happening, but that's across the board.
They were losing market share though before COVID happened.
Yeah, millennials and Generation Z, they're not hopping on bikes, with the exception of women. They're not hopping on bikes as much as like our generation, my generation.
But at the same time, Harley doesn't make the bikes that are easy to jump onto. You think Harley they make ones you can.
Yeah.
But when you think Harley, you don't think, okay, a Vespa I can go putt around the city, put it underneath my stairs. It's a big hog. That's what's in your head. So when you're gonna go and buy a motor,
that's at least the perception.
Yes,
right? That's the perception, and the perception also is that they're very expensive.
Yeah.
Even though you could get like a Sportster like dirty dirt cheap, especially used with like very few miles.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of funny. So our friend just had their like 1,000-mile on her Sportster, and she took it to a mechanic to get that done. And when she got there, they were surprised at how many miles she had for how short a time she had the bike. She rides like maybe not as much as you or I, but
she's
pretty,
almost
pretty
commuting
often.
she's commuting multiple times a week.
Pretty often she's riding.
So
pretty often she's riding. So, but they were like, more often than not, we get these Harleys that are like 5-10 years old and they have like 2,000 miles on them.
That's when I bought my bike. It was honestly 10 years old. It had 6K on it.
Yeah, but your bike came from a military base. There's like a whole other like.
Yeah, but at the same time, that's not uncommon. Like every time I've looked at used bikes that were what I wanted, I was looking for low mileage, and every one of them had the same story. Where it was, I got it, I had fun with it, and then it sat in the garage. I did mothball it, or I didn't mothball it, and that changed what price we were talking about.
Yeah, but I mean, like, like on a military base, you find a lot of guys that buy sport bikes and then get deployed, so they're not getting ridden for like 9 months.
That's why it had so many people who'd owned it, not necessarily why it was so low mileage.
Yeah, that's not quite the same as like basically what I'm trying to point out is there are a ton of Harleys in garages that don't get ridden.
Oh yeah. There are a ton of bikes in garages. Harley's just up until recently they had like 40% of the American market.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So yes,
so going from 40% to 35%, and people are like the death rattle.
No, it's not death rattle. I'm nowhere like whatever talking head you want to pick on. It's not a death rattle. It's just Harley 10 years from now is going to look like a much different company.
100% that.
Whether they want to or not.
I'll say this, I don't think it's a death rattle, but it's kind of like we're on a ship. I see an iceberg. We're very far away from it because I have to look at the iceberg through binoculars, but I see it.
Yeah.
And I know for sure if we don't change course, we're going to hit it. And I think that's where Harley's at.
I agree. And the thing that makes me worried is they just took the captain that said hard to port, and
Yeah.
And put
They were
him in a
like-
lifeboat, said,
they were
good
like,
luck,
"Hey,
here's your 10.
Hey, you know, you've turned the wheel too far on the ship, and the passengers are getting nervous. Like, that's literally what happened.
100%.
Like, he
And I'm
took
like,
evasive action, and then they were like, "You're making people panic because the ship is turning too sharply."
if they don't, and they hit that iceberg,
It's going to be catastrophic.
If-
It could be catastrophic in 10 years.
so if they hit it head on and realize that they hit it head on, and oh god,
Yeah.
everything's bad, they may come out with, okay, it is stripped down. It's technically not the same Harley like Triumph did, 30 years ago almost at this
Yeah,
point,
yeah.
where it's technically a different company, but they've still got the tradition.
Yeah.
If they do exactly what the Titanic did, do that side swipe, slowly die, sell everything off piecemeal, there isn't going to be enough there to try and salvage.
Yeah. It's going to be a t-shirt company.
So it's not going to, like,
It'll be a t-shirt company, and it'll be like you and I will be like gray-haired or in the grave by the time it can get resurged, like Indian.
Yeah, but it's going to be a rebuy 30 years down the road, not a and it's just, I'm worried that there's too many old guys who just want their Harley sitting on that board.
Yeah, 100%. And here's the funny thing. So the last CEO, with the stuff he was doing, when they came out with,
we
hey,
really
we're
should have
making-
gotten their names written down, but
yeah, I'll put it in the thing. I'll put it in the
it's
thing.
here.
So the old CEO, this guy, you know, this the stuff that he was doing, you know, he was like, all right, live wire, ADV bike, the street
The
fighter.
Bronx were getting the Pan American,
But then they had other stuff in the pipe, like flat track bike, which they actually have like history. It makes more sense for them to make a flat track
than for
but
anybody else.
Yeah.
They
And then-
made American flat track. Like, that was their thing.
Yeah, and then they were gonna do a
cafe.
a cafe bike.
I actually
And-
like the way the flat track looked way better than the way the cafe bike looked.
But I
personal
also felt like if that Street Fighter was popular, and if the cafe bike were popular, and the flat track bike were popular, we would have seen a fairing like Moto GP bike.
we talked about this last time we did this, and me wanting them to get Buell again.
Yeah.
Um,
I think they could have done something with that if those were popular. But so now this new CEO, this fucking guy, he comes in and he's like, no, people are nervous. The board is nervous. We're going to stick to making big baggers and trikes, which trikes are their most popular bike right now.
that is their highest grossing selling bike.
Yeah. So
we've gone over trikes.
Yeah,
By the way, our trike episode in a car.
Watch that. But so
yeah.
So they scrapped from all of what I can tell, it's too far along for the Bronx and the ADV. Those are definitely going to happen.
They already have like production line coming up.
Yeah.
So they've got people and
all the other fun shit. I
processing
think
that.
they scrapped, and
they didn't say they've scrapped it, but they.
I think they scrapped it. I'm pretty sure they scrapped it.
I think they did.
But they're gonna make fucking baggers on baggers on baggers. And here's the thing: I might be drinking my coffee from a Harley cup. I might own a Harley, but no one cares about your bagger.
You can make your bagger look cool.
No, you can't.
You can make it look cool, but it's the same way you make your van look cool.
You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and say this, right? Like, and I've got friends who have fucking baggers, and I get it, you know, like they're comfortable and all of that, and you can put a bunch of shit in there, and you can throw your wife on the back and blah blah blah. But I personally don't ride bikes because they're practical.
No.
And nobody does.
Yeah.
Nobody does. I don't care how fucking practical.
I can't
you
get
think
groceries
your bike
today
is.
because I rode my bike.
Yeah, I don't care how.
I can't get as much groceries as was on our list, I should say.
I've been having to do a lot of like building stuff at our other job, and you know I've been driving.
2x4s are really
pickup.
hard to put on a motorcycle.
Yeah. Sheets of plywood, pretty difficult, right? So Daddy's got a pickup truck for that. But the problem, you know, that I see with that is those big baggers and all that have they have zero appeal to me, right? And I am less the market they should be targeting than the market they should be targeting. Yeah. And they if I find them repulsive, like the people younger than me absolutely find them atrocious.
But Tony's younger than you, and he loves his. He brags about it all the time.
Tony's a special guy.
Yes, he is, but also, like, just because one person...
Yeah, no, I mean, there's going to be a few, right? There's going to be a few guys who like that.
The way I look at a bagger, and I just came up with this, like, when we were talking 5 seconds ago, they remind me of 80s vans.
They're the one thing more dad jeans than
ADV
all bagged up, like...
No, but they remind me of an old 80s van where, like, you could paint a wizard on the side of it.
Like an airbrush.
Yeah, airbrush that wizard. Like, you get your flames and your
like
leopard print and your
Frank
crane
Frazetta,
all over.
Yeah,
yes.
Frank Frazetta, like barbarian scene.
That is a bagger in my head.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, I can appreciate the art on it, and I know you put a sofa in the back because you think someday you're going to get a girl with it. You're not going to get a girl with that shit. You either already have a girl and she's okay with it, or it's not gonna help.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a Harley, but it's pretty not Harley looking as far as like new bikes.
It's definitely still Harley.
Well, no, it's for sure Harley, but I mean, like, if, like, for instance, like, so we have a couple of friends that don't ride, right?
Yeah.
And when I told them I bought a Harley, they were like, oh, right? And then when they saw my bike, they were like, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how come you went before? And it's because they were thinking of a bagger. They were thinking of a big fucking couch, gold wingy bagger.
What Harley should do is make a chopper.
Well,
if Harley came out,
I mean, the problem with choppers are, I don't think the chopper is appealing enough to the younger crowd, and then the older guys won't ride them because choppers suck.
They do. They're stupid. They should come out with a chopper for one very easy reason. Name a more American motorcycle.
If you made like...
They've already hung their hat on being the most American motorcycle. If you go and you buy the most American motorcycle right now, you're not buying a Harley, you're buying a custom chopper.
I would argue that, and I would say buy a dirt... Like, if they made a dirt bike, like a not street legal fucking dirt bike that was $3K and awesome, you know, like...
No argument there. If they want to make money and, actually sell a fuck ton of bikes.
Playing in the dirt with motor vehicles is pretty fucking American.
Oh, yeah. No, it is. But you couldn't get that past the board.
Oh,
you could get the chopper past the board, and that would get enough talk that you could probably get some guys in the shop and talk and look at other stuff.
So again, the new CEO, this fucking evil prick, I was actually thinking of buying Harley stock. Mm-hmm. And we talked about it off camera. I was thinking about buying Harley stock because they announced the cafe bike and all these other stuff. And I'm like, man, I really want to like bet on that horse. I think, you know, if Indian can do it, you know, like if Indian can get like younger guys with their like kind of flat tracky bike and stuff like that, like with their Scout, I was like, man, like I liked the way that their ADV bike looked. I liked that it was like different. I liked that they were coming out with a Street Fighter.
Yeah.
All that stuff. I was like, man, I would buy stock right now on that bet that they're going to capture more of those younger people.
My argument was if he buys stock in Harley, he either has to buy stock in Honda and everything else as well, so that we can keep, you know, non-biased on the channel.
Yeah, I was like, I'll buy some KTM stock and some Honda stock too. But
if you put $10 in each of them, sure, I'm fine with that, man. But if you buy stock in Harley, you can no longer say I am not a Harley fan, even though you're drinking out of a cup.
For sure, for sure. But you know, I say that's, you know, with a 90% chance that my next bike, which I'm planning on buying like August, September, is not going to be a Harley. I'm not 95%.
Yeah.
Right? Unless that ADV absolutely blows my freaking socks off. it's probably going to be a KTM. But I wanted to bet on Harley because I liked what they were doing.
Yeah.
And this new CEO came and just like completely gave me the middle finger. I feel like it's almost personal. Yeah. Like, because I would not buy stock in what
I'm
this
so
guy's
much
doing.
less excited in what Harley as a company, like when you get out of the factory and you're actually talking about, okay, forward plan, I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
It's the same way you look at e-bikes.
Yeah.
Like you just you learned what you learned and checked out. I'm like, okay,
nobody cares about electric bikes.
I care.
Nobody cares about electric bikes.
I'm so
there's like five guys out there who are like, electric bikes are rad, and then like no one else gives a shit.
There are literally dozens of us.
And you have exactly 0 electric bikes. But,
I have 0 electric bikes.
And your next bike will not be electric. And the bike after that.
The bike after it really could be.
But I you know, like just even like just looking at trends of like likes and views, like electric bike videos, they don't move the needle like other videos do.
No, they
not even like not just our channel, like
just as far as like looking at it, you're 100% correct there.
Yeah. But so Fort 9, Ryan F9, they did a Harley video kind of like talking about these points, and they went hard in the paint, kind of like with it. I recommend you watch the video.
It's a great video.
I disagree with his like wrap up at the end, which is that Harley should be doing this and they should just make big stupid baggers until no one's buying them, and just like let's just ride this till the wheels fall off.
I think that what he was saying is that is what Harley is going to do because of this asshole.
I think he said he agreed with it though.
I think he said he agrees with it because that's the only plan he can see.
Yeah.
With the present board and CEO.
Maybe I'll have to watch it again, but I kind of gathered
that was
like,
that was the vibe I was
right
getting.
Thing.
No, I don't think he was saying he was doing the right thing. I think what he was saying is they should have done the right thing 10 years ago, and at this point it may be that making big baggers is all they have left.
For all the people who too think like you can't turn Harley around and like make that brand mean something else, because of all of this other like, you know, like association with outlaw bikers and like the dad bikes, and if you don't think you can change that, like I'll challenge you to this. Like Harley's image now of being like old doctors and lawyers and dentists and shit is about as far away as you can get from like 1%ers and whatnot.
Yeah, like, and outlaw bikers.
Yeah,
there are a bunch of different places you can redo it.
Yeah,
it's just it's gonna take a hit in the next 5 to 10 years,
and they should do it while they have the bankroll to do it now.
Yeah,
you know, they should do it while. And I'm not saying don't make big stupid bikers and trikes. Just also make some other shit. You don't need like 8 different options of big stupid bagger or like 8 different soft tails. Yeah, you know, like
and the like okay, so make 2 soft tails. You have the catalog to make 153 different soft tails.
Also, all right. So I hope you enjoyed that short message from our sponsors.
Sponsors?
Sure. Us.
Sponsored by Squeeze Store.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't agree with the direction Harley's going in.
Yeah.
I wish they would really do some different things. What they were doing was really exciting. And the other thing is, too, like talking about guys who are Harley guys who work at Harley dealerships, like talking about them, like everybody was excited for that ADV. Everybody was excited for the new stuff.
Even if you weren't going to buy it, it got you in the store to talk about it, and you got a Softail.
Yeah. And the other thing is this, like, if you, like, how do I sell you another bike? If you own 2 bikes, right? Like, are you going to buy another big baggery cruiser bike?
Yeah. So, Tony, our friend who has a bagger.
He also used to have a sport bike.
He used to have a sport bike. He sold one bagger to get his other bagger.
Yeah.
He doesn't he's going to probably sell this one to get another one
Yeah.
in X many
Yeah,
years.
there are very few guys who just have like 4 Harleys lined up in their garage. They do exist. They do exist.
Whereas you look at the people who have, a track bike, 2 dirt bikes that are there.
That's more me. I want a bunch of, like, I don't need like 5 hammers in my toolbox.
I mean, you might if you're a blacksmith.
The same hammer.
But you don't need 5 10-pound hammers with the same face.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. Like 5 of the same things that do the same job is just like dumb to me. So like, while I could definitely see myself having 5 or more motorcycles in my garage, they're not going to be all the same.
And if if all you make is cruisers,
you don't have another thing to sell me. You just don't have another thing to sell me.
Yeah. Speaking about cruisers.
And
just a complete warning for anyone wearing headphones. He's about to get really angry at the world, and in particular, BMW. Because what is BMW?
All right, so caveat. I like BMW as a company. I like a lot of the stuff they do. I like their cars as well, even though that's kind of a separate wing.
It's a different company.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same badge, right?
It's the same badge. It's a different company.
It's a different company. But I like BMW motorcycles for the most part.
Okay, so what do you think of the just off the top of my head, R18?
Okay, so BMW made a cruiser.
Yeah, they did.
Right, and they made a cruiser they have some like kind of gold wingy, big baggery.
Oh yeah.
Nonsense, right? And that's fantastic, whatever. But the R18 is like. I think it was like meant to be their like Softail Fat Bob kind of road king.
Yeah, it's their big. I want to go on a long ride, but I don't want just bagger.
Yeah. All right. So if you take a look at this picture here, right, you'll see it from the front, and from like the bottom of the tank up, I dig it.
I'm okay with it. Yeah.
The tank is beautiful.
I also like the exhaust. I like the front. I like the back. Just don't look at it from the side.
So it is a giant. It's a giant. It's like 1800 cc.
Yeah.
Boxster. 1800 cc Boxer engine. Like, fuck off.
It's wider. It's wider than my bike with the bags.
Yeah.
Not quite. And I'm a 4-cylinder.
It's so wide. First of all, the Boxer engine is about my least favorite thing that BMW does.
I think you'd really like it if they put it in a different orientation.
Yeah, but the way that it is, I really dislike it for a multitude of reasons, and like,
well, your legs are so long.
Yeah, and also like the other reason too is that I don't necessarily think that it's a great engine configuration. Like I would much rather have their 1000 cc.
The thing that you get on a Boxer, and how long have you ridden a Boxer for?
I mean, not long, and I get like they're meant to be like super smooth and blah blah
because
blah.
Because all of the push is separate from where your spine is sitting. They are really comfortable if you are just, I need to make thousands of miles disappear.
Yeah.
So,
and
okay.
Kind of Goldwing does a version of that as well, but
I think they're technically a whatever.
So I said a version, but the R18. The thing that I like, it's to me a wasted ability. So they built this big, like kind of vintagey looking cruiser aimed at the American market, right?
It looks like they're trying to steal Harley's thunder.
Yeah. And there's a lot of like Harley looking Harleyness to it.
Yep.
Right? And
there are a couple lines where you're like, that is a wee bit German, but it's only a wee bit German. And
yeah. And so my biggest issue with it is, first of all, like, who is asking for this? Like, just from like, I'm sitting on the board and like there's some kraut who's like, you know what we need to get after is we need to make a motorcycle to target the fastest shrinking market in the world. like we just got done talking about how Harley needs to make different bikes.
There's an argument here that because it's a Kraut saying that, and you are selling Americana in Europe. I mean, right now exporting,
but it's not. It's designed for this market.
This is the only thing I can come up with that is how it got through the board.
Yeah.
Is they designed it for selling Americana in Europe, and they just are going to sell it over here as well. It doesn't stick with the paint on
they're gonna
how
sell.
they're
going to sell a few. So there are a lot of design elements of this bike that I like, that are really beautiful looking, and then you look at it from the front.
To be fair, it's not a pinched seam tank.
The tank is wonderful. Tank is beautiful. But the problem is that Boxster engine sticks out the side. I mean, look at this. Look at this. That is not sexy. It's not pretty.
The worst part about it is you're putting it on a cruiser.
You're putting it on a cruiser in a market where people love forward controls.
You know what you can't do on that bike? You can't do this.
You can't put forward controls.
You know what you can do on that bike? You can cook your legs on a grill. They supply the grill. Honestly, you can't put running boards, so you can't, no. It is a footrest, but it also comes with a leg rest.
It's
that is on top of the cylinders.
It's a calf cooker.
So you go and you, it sticks there, and you're like, nah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you
right on top of the cylinders.
Yeah, there's like literally a cook plate that you can bolt on right above the cylinder heads, and then you're meant to contortionist your leg up onto. It looks like that.
My bet is it's really comfy if you're in a parking lot and not running, because you can just kind of sit back, especially if you get there. I mean, you have to get the backrest, because otherwise you're literally just folded in half by your own strength.
If I ever see somebody riding a BMW R18 if I don't have anywhere I need to go, I'm gonna follow them until they stop, because I want to talk to them.
Fair.
And I mean, I'm not gonna throw like rotten.
If you're late to work and that is your excuse, I will give you half an hour before I get mad.
So, you can't put forward controls on it, which I feel are a really important option for the American cruiser market.
Yeah, they are.
And that calf cooker thing is so silly.
It's silly. That's one thing. The other thing that when we were looking through their website on buying it, the base model comes with none of the things that the cheapest Harley comes with.
It's so expensive.
It's stupid expensive.
I've complained about this before with dudes who have GSAs or something like that.
Yeah.
Harleys are expensive. Your bike was $24,000.
You can get 3 cars.
Yeah. So it is wicked expensive.
And it's wicked expensive for not the bits and baubles that are fancy. If base model came with, keyless ignition and GPS and all of those things straight. No, you have to get up to the 3rd ranking before you get into any of the bits and baubles that for the same price you're going to get on base for every other maker.
Yeah. So overall, while there are some bits of styling that are sexy, overall it's a ugly duckling to me. And it's really bizarre. They're bizarre choices made.
Yeah.
And I feel like they're going to sell a few to, there are guys who just want to buy bizarre shit because, they go to Ren Fair and they just want to have
You have a thing against people at Ren Fair. That's just because you can beat them with every stick.
That's not, it's not that I have anything against people at Ren Fair. It's that there's a type. And that guy is the guy that wants to buy something that's really bizarre.
That is fair. Yeah.
There are guys who wear kilts because they like kilts, and there are guys who wear kilts because everyone else wears pants. And while I don't have anything against being unique.
Yeah.
But have a little bit more substance to your choice other than
no one else is doing
like
it. Yeah.
Like that guy who wants to learn forgotten style archery because no one else fucking shoots it.
Oh, who was it? Someone came in and they were like, "Yeah, I was just looking at Lars." And I just.
So
our other life is archery. So yeah.
So I don't think it's very pretty overall. Like as a whole package, there are certainly some parts that I like it. I think they'll sell a few, but largely I think they built something that is too weird.
Okay. Is this one of those things where it's BMW?
And there are certain parts of it that are too Harley.
Yeah, but is this a certain thing where BMW still means fairly luxury?
Oh yeah.
Is BMW making this so that they can fill if you make a luxury item, some of it you just have to make it a luxury item, and some of that's just the price point.
My
also
feeling about this, and BMW's tried to kind of make some cruisery bikes before, and they haven't ever really done it right. But my feeling on this is, so if that just came out 2 or 3 years, you'll be able to buy one like super cheap, low mileage. Because like there's some dentist bought it and he's like, I can't fucking cook my legs on this anymore.
The other thing is we are being a little hypocritical. Like we're giving shit on Harley for not making different types of bikes, and then we promptly turn around and tell Beamer, no, you can't make cruisers.
No. I didn't say they can't make cruisers, but they're not building a different bike. Okay, so like take a look at the Ducati Diavel. Right, that's a power cruiser, but it's a Ducati, though.
And it looks like a Ducati.
It looks like a Ducati. It's got a single swing arm. It's doing stuff different, which is what I want to see. I don't need somebody else stepping in and being like, "Look, we're building something that looks like what Indian and Harley does." Like, I don't need that.
You got a Harley, and if you don't have the Harley, Indian's doing the other.
Build a BMW cruiser that's unique to BMW.
It looks like a Beamer.
Just throwing a boxer engine onto like the, like kind of classic, American cruiser is not enough for me.
Make a German cruiser.
Like look at the Triumph Rocket 3. Muscle cruiser, but it looks like nothing else.
No.
And I applaud that sort of stuff.
They had to fit a landing pad because that thing guzzles so much gas. So you're like, well, I think there's about 3 acres of tank here.
Yeah. So
it's fun. It's a fun bike, but
yeah. So we'll show you a few. We've shown you a few pictures probably of the R18. Go take a look at it. Let us know what you think of it. Like, am I wrong? I just
to
think
be
no
fair,
one's
I
asking for
actually really like Beamer's website on it. You can do a lot of putting all the bits and bobs you want on it, and see what it looks like as it turns around. So that's how we know that you're going to cook your calves on that stupid grill. But the website, like, that is a really slick website.
Yeah.
So bravo on Beamer on their website, less bravo on the bike.
The other problem with that, the calf cooker is when that guy does put his legs up there, it's gonna flip his utilikilt up.
I mean, that's because he bought a utilikilt, not a kilt.
I'm just saying that's
it's
the kind
worn.
of guy,
it's worn on the hips, not the waist. It's technically a skirt because you're not wearing a sporran. Don't get me started on utilikilts. I'm from Seattle. I know my utilikilts, but also at the same time, I don't own one for a reason.
I feel like that's the dude who buys and rides this bike. And there are a few other guys who just have money to burn who are going to buy it and never ride it because,
Yeah. We'll see.
We'll see. Like that's what's
maybe we're completely wrong and we're idiots. If you think we are, tell us down there, and we can ignore you if you're actually starting flame wars. Otherwise,
You know what we didn't do? You know what we didn't do this episode is we didn't mention taking the MSF course.
Oh, by the way, take the MSF course. There, we got it in. Okay, cool.
Right? But speaking of safety, just a quick note before you leave.
Don't go to Missouri. I mean, do go to Missouri, but
wear your helmet.
Wear your helmet.
Still wear your helmet.
Because
so apparently,
evidently,
Missouri is thinking about getting rid of their helmet law.
What the hell?
Now, there's definitely a part of me that thinks that, like, we don't need to police people and, like,
Arizona doesn't have, like, there's no helmet law in Arizona.
Yeah. I've actually never seen anybody not wear a helmet in Arizona.
I have, but I'm not sure how much you were driving around in Yuma in June.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
So, and part of the reason you hear it in Arizona is, yeah, it's 120 down there, and a helmet is hot. So I can understand a little bit of that argument. I think it's stupid as hell, but I can understand it. Missouri,
I mean, I very much have a lot of, like, you know, you should have personal freedoms and your safety is like your thing and all of that. So, I mean, it's not that, like, it doesn't matter if there's a helmet law or not. I'm still gonna wear a helmet. Like,
the thing that's
you'll never catch me with, you know, a skull cap.
Yeah, the thing that's gonna make me laugh on that is I want to know what it does to Missouri's insurance premiums.
Yeah, so that's the big one, right? Like, and I wonder if there's like I wonder if they might do something where you got a credit, like an insurance credit, if you show you bought like a full face helmet or something.
That would be great, but it's never going to happen because you can't police it.
You can't police it, but you also can't police that your motorcycle still has an anti-theft system, or your car. Like, you show that you bought it, you know. You can't police that it's still functional and still there.
True. The thing is a helmet you have to put on every time you ride. The anti-theft system, yeah, you can buy it and put it in a box. How many people are going to buy something just to put in a box to say they bought it? Like,
That's true, but I mean,
the anti-theft, once you have it installed, it works.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about it. It's fire and forget. A helmet, very much not that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if that passes or not. And I mean, to be honest with you, I think that the guys not wearing helmets is kind of a going. I think that's going.
I hope it is just as much as I hope that, you know, not wearing seatbelts and all of that. There's still going to be idiots who just
even dudes who hop on squid missiles with like flip flops and like t-shirts. They're still putting like full face buckets on. You know,
well,
like,
that's because it's the law here.
Yeah, but you don't see them with like a little brain bucket.
True, the brain buckets are almost entirely a cruiser thing.
Yeah,
and it's just for the aesthetic.
And I think that not wearing a helmet is a cruiser thing too. That's all I'm saying.
Okay,
and I think that it's something of the older generation that wants to ride without a helmet. Like, I don't think younger people really care for that.
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, I'm the one who told my mom she was gonna ride with full gear before she bought her bike.
But anyway, you know, find us on Instagram, squish.moto. Find us on Facebook, squish.moto. Go to our website, squishmoto.com. Buy trinkets and baubles, all of that good stuff. And hit like, subscribe, ring the bell, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.
Get busy, me! Go get busy, me!